How are you?
I'm doing amazing.
First of all, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me, even though you did not actually agree to do it, but we kind of just stole you. But I think we've been doing that for years and years since the beginning.
Yeah, it's been a few years.
Laibel got to become Laibel and do all of his crazy shenanigans because Mint gave me the opportunity to do that, and that's why I feel home here. Bring me back to Mint. When did Mint start?
It's now 5 years. Hashem.
But this was not your first foray into mortgages.
No. I started in 2004. 2004 was my first dip into the mortgage business, and I took a break a few years in between, but for most of my career since 2004, I've been in the mortgage business.
You said something very interesting to me recently. And you actually didn't say it to me, you said it to the world. You made a post and you made a statement. You said, a while back, Ami wanted to interview me.
Yeah.
They said, what's it like for someone building a company, successfully, rapidly growing, who wanted to interview me? And then the market just went crazy. Mm-hmm. And you said, why don't you interview me now? What was up with that post? What does that mean?
Social media is a great way to get out there, to build business, to inspire people, and it's a good sales funnel. And it's a good way of not only direct sales, but when you want to recruit people, whatever you want to do, social media is a great platform. The problem sometimes is with social media is that there's only positivity out there. I mean, of course, there's a lot of bullying and other things that happen on social media, but I'm saying when people post about themselves, they mostly post on
their wins.
The success they're having. And when you are an outsider in an organization and you look at that organization, you're like, wow, look at the success they're having. Everything they're doing is working. And look how I'm struggling every day with my things that I'm trying to do. But the truth is that every day, every person has some wins and a lot more losses than wins each day. That's just the normal how it is. But the losses are something we remember more than the wins. But when we see others post only about the positivity, what they have, you think I'm a failure. I'm doing something bad and something's not working. When in reality, what you're going through, everybody is. So my point was, when you have a magazine, which is an amazing magazine, and it's inspiration when you read articles, how people struggled and but the interview usually happens when the person is doing well. So it's, wow, what my point was, let's talk to people while they're struggling, and let's hear what they're going through right now, and how they're keeping going every day. Like, what am I doing right now when we struggle to be motivated and excited to walk in? It's very easy when things go well to say, yeah, when it was bad, I was upbeat. Hey, back then I didn't interview you. Let me interview you while things are down. Can you walk in smiling every day, even while it's happening, while you have the issues? So another point was, I'm in a specific business, which this business got hurt the last year and a half from interest rates rising and the whole economic changes that the government is trying to do, meaning because of inflation. We got hit badly. As an industry, we got hurt. And every company, there's not one company that did not have to let people go. Some packaged it nicer, some just did layoffs. Some did not do layoffs, but they did it in a nicer way, but suddenly they have much less employees than they had a few years ago. That's the fact of the industry. But when you go on social media, you see certain companies are like, wow, how are they doing it in this market? And so when you believe whatever you see that it's 100% that's what it is, it brings you down, and it's like, where am I failing? But when you realize, okay, it's social media, you can post whatever you want and you can choose to post only the positive stuff, then that's what they're doing, which is good for them, because that's what we have to do. We have to stay positive, we have to be motivated, and you can do it. You can work on yourself to have a positive mindset. You don't have to allow yourself to be dragged down and think about the failures and stuff, because that doesn't help you. What helps you is the win. But take the wins to be motivated instead of taking it as in, wow, I'm failing, but look how good they are. So yes, they are doing a great job posting about wins because that's what we should be doing. We should not talk about the failures because it doesn't help us. And it doesn't help us day to day talk about, you have failures, which is okay, but what can I do to change it? So when you see someone's success, take that as motivation, not as demotivation.
It's fascinating. Yesterday, someone sat me down and we have a brand that's very fun, open, loving, warm, growth-minded, whatever's going on. And someone actually sat me down yesterday and they said, I actually get discouraged from your content. Because not everything's happy, not everything's wonderful, not everything's things. I'm having a challenging time. And it hit me.
You figured everything out.
Yeah, and I'm thinking in my mind, I have no clue what's going on. Not that I have no clue. I look at other people and say oh, they got figured out. But that guy's thinking about me.
There was a post on LinkedIn today from Alex Hormozy, which is actually exactly this. I forgot the words. I forwarded it to my partner over here. The point of it is that when you look at your competition, wow, how have they figured it out? Stop looking at them. No one has figured it out, okay? They also did, and they also think you did, and they're busy in their company. Wow, how did they figure it out? No one did. That's just how it is. Business is a journey. You got to enjoy the journey, okay? It's not a destination where you're going to get one day and you're going to say, wow, okay, I accomplished something. This is life. Life is a journey, and it's enjoy it while it is. The challenges, the grind, the losses, the wins. It's so much sweeter the win when you had major losses. And sometimes you need to have real losses to enjoy good times. And
is it hard now? How do you deal with it now? Now you made the post. Talk to me now. How is it? How do you? Is it? Because every industry is having a tough time, and I'm having a tough time. Everyone's having a challenge. Life is changing.
The answer is there are very challenging days for the last 1.5 years in this business. From financials, what we had as an industry, we lost 60% of the business, okay? When you lose 60% of business, that doesn't mean you lost 60% of revenue, okay? Which you did. It means you lost 95% of your profit. That's what it means. It's only 60% of revenue. But that revenue was your profit, basically. So every lender out there, which you can see posted there, right? The public companies, everybody lost money in the last year. There was maybe one organization that posted profit most of the quarters, but everybody had quarters where they lost money in serious amounts of money. So this is throughout the industry. Throughout the industry, everybody lost money. Everybody had to find ways how to make changes. That's by reducing staff or whatever you had to do. What all of that does, and it's not something you just make changes and there's no consequences because of it. When you make changes, people become unhappy. And the same people who are excited and your best fans suddenly turn and are no longer loyal like they used to be or whatever they are. And again, everybody's entitled. Everybody is an individual person. They're allowed to make their own decisions. But at the same time you're trying to make things work, it affects people.
You're the one that sees everything. And that's the reason why I made the podcast in the beginning. Because no one realizes that, I've never had a job. I've never felt secure. There's no such thing by me. We used to, when we were in the wedding business, we would not be able to pay mortgage, rent at the time. And then all of a sudden, someone would call for a wedding for 2 weeks from now. And my wife and I would be like, Hashem runs the world. You know what I mean? That thing. Yeah. But no one realizes what it is on Friday to have to pay a payroll and not know where it's coming. You know what I mean? And so therefore,
I know what you mean, yeah.
You're making decisions that are going to help everyone in the long run, but doesn't feel the same.
The answer to that is probably transparency, okay? But it's not easy at times. Meaning is, there is this definitely an awakening the last few years of vulnerability, transparency, and there's all of that is true, which is sometimes we have our egos in the way and we try to play a game like everything is perfect. And therefore, if everything is perfect, why do you do what you're doing? Okay? But when you are vulnerable, and you have transparency, which is, no, it's not good, and we need to make changes, you get people on board. You get people on board, you get people to have buy-in, to agree on whatever changes you want to do.
Meaning, this is the situation. I'm now, as a leader, believe this is the right way to move. And I'm not really saying that we're making a democracy. I'm just letting you know that the reasons I'm making these moves is because here's the vision, as opposed to keeping everyone blinders.
True. And that is tough. It's easier said than done, because what you just said, which is, it's not a democracy. At the end of the day, a company cannot run like a democracy. Everything goes for votes, and whoever votes, at the end there is a decision maker. There's someone who has to pay the bills at the end of the month, no matter what sales was. So you have to make decisions. And therefore that's the challenge, because although you're right, and it's the right decision, people will still not always agree and still feel like hurt, and I don't know, leave me out of it, and take care, see you tomorrow. You know what I mean? So that's why it's challenging to be, vulnerable and transparent at times. Although it's the right thing to do, it's the best chance at moving a big ship and making changes. And but I'm saying that's definitely the challenge, which is you make changes and you feel like, okay, we got it now. We got it. We made the right changes. We're ready to move forward. But then you get hit from this side, and it's like, how do you move forward? And it's like, okay, it passes through. And you're like, okay, ready to go.
I'm ready to fly again. I'm ready to sail.
And comes from this side. Bingo. There's another. And it's like this gut punch every other day, which is, and then still be excited, be optimistic, because to be honest, that's your only chance.
That's the only chance. I thought about it recently. I feel like my biggest asset is me. Mm-hmm. That whatever Laibel does, right? And I haven't been able to get that. And I'm like, how is the ship going to sail, like you said, if I'm not doing my thing? There's no nothing. You know what I mean? I wake up to the guys, I'm like, hey guys, how you doing? Yeah. Can you imagine Laibel, I'm being in the brand, and that's why you're in? And I'm trying to figure out, am I going to get back to that? Am I going to get back to that, and how am I going to do it?
Yeah, and you have no choice.
Right.
What's the choice? I mean, it's like...
or what?
Stop or what? Like, what's the other option?
I'm thinking about it recently. Like, what am I going to do? Like, let's say I forget the whole thing. Forget the whole thing. Then what? But we still have a mortgage, and I still have the guys...
But that's the point. People can tell you that. It's like, okay, forget the whole thing. And it's like, okay, and then what? Okay, forget what?
Right.
No. It is what it is. Right. You go with the punches. You go with the wind. You'll pass through. It will pass. You know how I know? I remember 2008.
I was just going to say, this is not the first time you've been through this.
No,
But even before that,
if you live long enough, you'll have up cycles, down cycles. That's just life. But the down cycle usually is much shorter than the success, than the good times. Look at 2008, what happened? It was 2008, 9, 2010, things started to pick up again. And then it went for 11 years or so. And it was crazy good after. Point is, you gotta be able to swim through. And I don't know, work on not getting so emotionally attached to people, I guess. Maybe you should, I don't know.
So that's why I'm going crazy also. And I think that you'll definitely understand this. It's weird for me to live long enough to see people transition, to see companies transition for up, for down, to see how people are over time, where they go, how they go. And, you kind of have a view on the world, and then it kind of takes time and experience till you start to say, oh, I'm seeing more of it. The more of the picture is coming clear.
I think people talk about corporate America, and they hate on the idea that it's corporate. It's system.
Cold.
It's a cold numbers game. I hate it personally, meaning because I love there's a family environment, and that's what I like in the business part. But on the other hand, family cannot cut ties tomorrow. They're here to stay for life. I mean, God forbid, you know what I mean? But hopefully it's a lifetime. And so you build your relationship. In business, it's different. People you think it will last a lifetime, you don't think there's a chance it's not going to continue. I mean, there's no way, it works so well, and suddenly it's something from the past. So the longer I'm in business, the more I see, and maybe I'm not a believer in this right now, it's the family business or whatever. I love the idea, but I think you gotta watch to be not too emotionally attached, because in reality, in business, everything can change every day, and the closest people that you think, okay, I cannot move without this, it will change. Very few people stay with the same partners and with the same people and with the same for 20 years. So part of that is to know that and have a plan. Have a plan that, it's normal work beforehand to replace.
But that's so hard inside of it, because right now we're just like, it's great. Meaning, like, how are you going to make a plan now and then realize you have to?
I'm saying again, so that's why corporate America is succeeding, by the way. I think that's why they're succeeding to make billions of dollars, because they don't get wrecked by this person left and this person left, and I had to make this move, and this person was not as happy anymore. Then it's not about that. It's about numbers. It's about business. It's decision making. You leave, fine. Business continues. Everything continues. It's not
told me this when he told me when one of my first employees left. He said, "Laibel, you're the company." But they did everything. They were my assistant. They knew all my gear. They drove me everywhere. They made all the MPTS. They made the videos. You're the company.
BTS.
But then we grew stronger. And then our best secretary had to leave. And I was like, no, we'll never make it. We'll never make it. And every time someone's left, we've grown stronger. To this point, when someone leaves, I'm like, hey, I wonder what's coming. You know what I mean? But
not that it's easy.
Right.
And not that we don't care for employees or for people we work with. Many guys, we would love to work with everyone. But I think it's a reality. The longer you're in business, the more you get to know that it's reality.
I think Mint was the prototype of that idea of family and connection and fun. Do you think you'll do it different?
I don't think I'll do it differently. Meaning is, I still like what I like. I like a family environment. I like when people enjoy where they work, when it's not so stressful and just about numbers and just about work. But I guess my expectation is different. Meaning is, like, I understand now that I might be investing in something, but it doesn't mean that they accept it the way I want to give it, and which is okay. I have to be okay with it. And if I still want to give or whatever, I should do that just for the sake of giving, not for the sake of receiving, because you cannot control the receiving part.
But a giving person wants to give because they need to give.
Yeah, I guess they receive by giving. It's also receiving. I guess it's receiving whatever they feel they're getting when they're giving. So I did not change personally the way how I want to give, although I've had many conversations in my company about changing certain things, and people who believe differently than me right now because they have changed, as in stop this, and don't give and all. But I personally, I just have to have a strategy to be okay with it, and not to be so emotionally disturbed when it happened, and not, but to be okay with and just live with it.
Any friend you have, as close as you get, could leave. I said, but marriage, I tell Hassan, is like owning a home, right? Getting a mortgage at the main capital and owning a home. Every kind word, every beautiful act, every chesed that you do goes in the bank and stays there literally forever and keeps getting interest. Every time you say something not nice, sometimes you're agitated, sometimes you do think you shouldn't, also goes in the same thing and will never go away. And that's the difference between every relationship in your life and family, or being married. It's the difference between renting and owning.
Do you charge by the weddings for the musicians also?
You filled it in. Just filled it in. That's
a gift. That's part of the gift. That's the giving part of you. Yeah. Someone once told me, actually, my brother, he has a huge company and he's successful. So when we started out, he told me, enjoy the honeymoon. Yeah, there will be 3 years or so where everybody is all in, and it's like, whoa, la, 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 la. It comes the time when honeymoon is over. That's when the real tough work begins. And eventually, it's almost on the button. But thankfully, things are in a good place at this moment. Meaning,
you told me once that now you might be in a better place than you ever were because of the headspace. Meaning, this is.
Yeah, I mean, say, depends in which part. I mean, say things are definitely in a good place. It's just that at a certain time, you have this, whatever you do goes right. That's at least the feeling. You know, you want to expand, you want to hire, you want to have a good, but everybody is all in. And sometimes it's just, even if you work on things, you see things are good, but you still get this punches from the side and this way and that way. So it's a different time. I mean, because that's the difference. That's my point. The difference from certain timing.
Honeymoon stage in real life.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
Laibel, what? Now I know
hold
what.
on, let me tell you something. We always end this thing, and again, I don't know if there's many people I photographed more than you. I always end this with a portrait. Do you mind if I gift you with a portrait?
To me? Yeah. No, of course not. I actually need one. I need a headshot. I don't need a headshot.